Hey guys, new video for you today. I know I promised, I said that I would get videos out, 2, 3 times a week. It's actually been a lot harder to do that than I originally thought, so I apologize for that. But without further ado, I'll get right into this one. So, I'm going to be talking about why you should be switching from Tamiya connectors over to Dean's connectors and why you should be switching the wiring in your stock rifles. Now, I'll just preface that by saying that whenever you're looking to upgrade a gun, one of the biggest things that people always overlook is their electrical current, their electrical conductivity. They don't really think, they think, oh, I'll slap some new gears in there, I'll slap a new piston in there, motor, stuff like that, and I'll get great performance. Now, obviously, if you slap a new motor in there and you do all those things, yes, you're going to see a performance boost, but your build is not going to be performing at its peak if you don't first look at the electrical components in your rifle. Now, this is obviously going right into why you should switch your wiring, first of all. Whenever you buy a stock gun, almost all of the time, they're going to come with very cheap, very low quality, high gauge, 18 gauge wire. It'll look something like this, either in black or in red, but it's very thin, um, not very conductive at all. I mean, it gets the job done, but it's just more cost effective for airsoft manufacturers to put this high gauge wire in their airsoft guns because in the end it's just they don't it's not as much material that they have to spend on. So that's why they opt for that kind of wire versus something else. Now there are a few companies that do use high quality wire. I can't really name them off the top of my head, but there are a few that do that, but it's very rare. Chances are your gun is going to have low quality wire if you just barely purchased it. Um, so, yes, I would recommend going ahead and buying not necessarily a new wiring harness because there's a lot of wiring harnesses out in the market that are actually still just 18 gauge. Really, they're more of a replacement part, not really an upgrade part. And so, I don't really recommend going after one of those. I recommend buying wire on its own. Now you can go to your local Home Depot or Lowe's or something along those lines, and you can get, your 16 gauge wire, which is what I would recommend. Now this wire is not the best quality, but it is a lot thicker, so it's going to give you more conductivity, which is really what you're aiming for in the end. You can go and opt for that cheaper wire. What I would recommend, and this isn't me trying to, post up an ad for anybody or do some advertisement. This is just me recommending the best wire on the market right now, which is Alpha Wire. You can get it from brillarmory.com. You can order it directly from NukeFet. Extremely compact wire. So even though it is 16 gauge, much thicker than your stock wiring, what I like about it is that it's a lot more compact, so you can still install it in your gearbox and not have it be, this really thick mess getting everywhere. It's thinner, it's more compact, but it has the exact same, uh, you know, quality as a thicker wire. So this is what I would recommend. Alpha Wire, look it up. It's great. Um, Now, obviously, if you don't have soldering skills, you can bring it to me, or you can bring it to your local tech, and they can easily put in the new wire for you. Now, we're going to get into the next step of that, and that is switch out your dang Tamiya connectors. Please, I don't understand why people still do this. They say, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have the soldering skills, I don't want to switch to Dean's, I don't have the connector, whatever. Stop giving yourself excuses and just change it out. Because those same people that won't switch over to Dean's because of, whatever reason are also the same people that'll spend $80 on a barrel and, think they're getting better performance. And it just doesn't work that way. Go ahead and get yourself some Dean's. You can buy a pack of like 10 on Amazon for like $5 with, shipping already included. So go ahead and do that. Buy some. Learn the soldering skills. It's really easy to solder them on. And if you can't do it, I won't charge you more than $5 to, solder both the gun and a few of your batteries. It's not a big deal. Um, but anyways, now that I've got past that whole thing, I'll explain why you want to go ahead and get Dean's connectors. And first of all, I'll show you how crappy um, Tamiya connectors are. Now, a Tamiya connector looks like this. This is the male connector that'll come on the guns. I'll go ahead and reinstall the wiring here so I can pull it out and show you what it looks like. So it'll look like this. Now, if I pull this out, it's not some magic that's going on in here and connecting. Really, all it is two wires touching each other. So you've got your red and your red for your positive, black for your negative. Then you'll also have another red and black that'll come down, and literally they just kind of touch. They just touch a little bit. It's just not a very secure connection. You'll see a lot of the times that it'll be loose. Sometimes you'll plug in your Tamiyas and it won't work because they're just not touching enough. It's just really a bad, flawed connection, and I just don't know why they just don't do away with it, because it's really stupid. But you know, airsoft companies are always looking to make the most money for what they sell you, so that's probably why they don't switch over. Easy fix, obviously. Go ahead and get yourself some Deans, solder it on, and then you'll get a much better connection. When you're using a Tamiya connector, you're basically bottlenecking the electrical current in your gun. Say your gun is shooting at 18 rounds a second. If you're using a Tamiya, switch to a Dean's connector, and not even switching your wiring, just switch to a Dean's connector. You'll see a boost in like 2 or 3. You could go from 18 to like 20, 23, something along those lines. Switch your wiring, you could even see a higher boost than that. So just do it, you know? I mean, without changing anything else in your gun, just changing those electrical components right there can make your gun that much more efficient. And really, that's what you want when you're upgrading your gun. You want to make your guns efficient. So start there. Start with your electrical components. Let me go ahead and show you how Tamiya works for those of you who have never seen them before. This is a battery, Tamiya connector. This is a gun, and you'll see very, very big connectors. They're gold plated on all of them, and they just slide together like that. And it's very firm. It's not just gonna come out like while you're running or something. You do have to tug on it for it to come apart. But it's two very solid connections touching each other and making the whole thing work. And this is why I recommend Deans. Really, get Deans. They're hassle-free. They're going to work every time. Don't wire them backwards. I've seen people do that, and it's a disaster, especially if you're using LiPo batteries. It will blow up in your face, so don't do that. But Deans connectors, get them. Stop giving yourself excuses for why you're not getting a Deans connection. Get them, please. Also change your wiring. Get some 16 gauge wire. Get some alpha wire, whatever it may be. But just get a thicker wire, more conductive, more your motor's not going to strain itself as much. Sometimes what'll happen is in these really crappy wiring sets, your motor will start heating up. I always get this question: why is my motor heating up so much? One, it's because maybe you have the wrong motor height. Your gears are shimmed badly. But most of the time, it's because your wiring sucks and you're using an 11.1 LiPo, and you're just not getting very much, it's just you're bottlenecking the whole thing, and your motor's really straining itself, and then you don't get as much performance out of your gun. So that's what I have to say about that. I know it's kind of a rant that I just went on, but really, guys, get yourself some thicker wiring, get yourself some Deans connectors, and you will see an instant improvement in your guns. Not only that, but if you're wanting to upgrade your guns, that's the first thing you should look at. That's why I always recommend, whatever build it may be, add a MOSFET. The nuke FET already comes with that wire, comes with Deans connections, comes with everything that you would need to give your gun the most efficient electrical setup. So that's why I always recommend getting a nuke FET. I mean, even if you're not going to change anything else in your gun, change those things. Maybe look into getting a nuke FET. I install them for $15. You can learn to do it yourself if you want to. Not very hard. So that's what I have to say about that. Thanks, guys.